Good morning, monsters, and welcome to this week's episode of Monsters on the Edge. I am your host, Barnaby, and we are here live on the Untold Radio Network. All right, guys. As you know, I am the host here, and I am also the founder and lead investigator for Cryptids, Anomalies, and the Paranormal Society. And we have a lot of cool stuff coming up real soon here on our YouTube channel. We have a brand new series debuting in January, which is Spirits of Menominee. It is a 3-part series documenting some weird paranormal activity in downtown Menominee, Michigan. And there's a whole bunch more on our YouTube channel. So if you guys aren't checking that out, you're missing out. Are you interested in the paranormal, ghosts, spirits, and the metaphysical? How about Mothman, Bigfoot, and other cryptids? What about UFOs, UAPs, and other anomalous phenomenon? Then you need to check out Cryptids, Anomalies, and the Paranormal Society. We have all that and more. Watch our series, Cap's Road Trip, where we travel across the U.S. in search of these phenomena and bring you not only the history of these locations, events, and encounters, but evidence that we capture along the way. Alongside our team of researchers and investigators, you never know who will be joining in on the investigations. Are you interested in Bigfoot in Upper Michigan? Check out Finding Huyton, a series documenting the Sasquatch activity on a very special 80-acre property just outside of Menominee that has been a hotspot since 2012. Want even more? Check out our podcasts. Whispers from the Dark is the official podcast of Cryptids, Anomalies, and the Paranormal Society and brings you interviews with the top names in the field of paranormal to cryptids and more. Hear witnesses' accounts, and go in-depth with the CAPS team to hear more about our ongoing research. Are you more into cryptids? Find links to our all-cryptid show, Monsters on the Edge, on the Untold Radio Network. If you're into spooky, subscribe now and you won't miss a minute of our brand new series coming soon, Spirits of Macville. Follow along as we uncover the haunted history dating back to 1877 of a very well-known location you may have never guessed would be haunted. Head on over to YouTube and hit that subscribe button and you won't miss a minute. That's right, guys. We have all that and more over there. Spirits of Macville is also coming soon, as the promo video there said. It is in progress of being edited, and episode 1 is on its way very soon. Also, season 2 of On the Trail of Undiscovered Beasts on Paraflix, which is all cryptid episode that we have there, is coming also. We are working on that right now. Paraflix Paranormal Plus is an all paranormal streaming platform, very similar to Netflix and your other streaming platforms. You can subscribe now and get 10% off with promo code CAPS10. And if you want to show your support for all the things we do at Cryptids, Anomalies, and the Paranormal Society, you can head on over to our website and click on Shop Our Store. There you can show our logo and wear it and show your pride everywhere that you go with our hats, or our t-shirts, hoodies, sweatshirts, magnets, stickers, mugs, tote bags, tank tops, and more. The only thing you can't get on our website is hats, which is ironically what I always try and say. You can find us on all of your social media platforms. You can find us at Wisconsin Caps on Patreon, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube, and WI Caps on Instagram. All right, now, ladies and gentlemen, you can still get it in time for Christmas. Our brand new book, Bigfoot is Hiding, is available on Amazon right now. It is all about Bigfoot activity on an 80-acre property in Upper Michigan. It's over 10 years of research, evidence, and documentation. It is an amazing full-color book that you won't want to miss. If you guys want to meet us in person, we are going to be in Rhinelander, Wisconsin, coming up in May for the Hodag Heritage Festival. And we are going to be in Marinette, Menominee, Michigan for the Marinette, Menominee Bigfoot and Paranormal Convention coming up June 1st. That is all we got there. If you guys want to show your support for all things here at the Untold Radio Network, here's how.
Hey, Untold Radio Network fans. Want exclusive perks and to support our channel? Introducing our YouTube membership program with 3 amazing levels. Get loyalty badges that level up to different cryptids the longer you're a supporter. How cool is that? You'll also get access to custom Bigfoot emojis and priority in chat. Upgrade to Backstage Pass for exclusive wallpapers, photos, status updates, discounted books, and merchandise. Go all in with the producer level for everything mentioned plus member shoutouts. Ready for an enhanced experience? Join now, pick your membership level, and let's make this journey even more exciting together.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, as I have said on the show before, I am trying to get you a very wide range of coverage from all 50 states of Bigfoot activity. So on today's show, we are heading down to Southeast Missouri. My guest today, Susan, has been researching the Bigfoot enigma for 30 years and has read over 350 books on the subject as well as other cryptids. She is the founder and director of SEMO, Bigfoot and Cryptid Research in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. The group now has over 971 members and growing. The group was formed after a presentation at the Scott City Historical Museum, where Susan was the chairman for 7 years. Well, it's still several. There was standing room only in a small community event, and the attendees signed up after the meeting for continued research, and the group was formed. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please welcome my guest, Susan Perez. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Barnaby. It's my pleasure to be here.
Oh, I'm honored to have you on. I've got the pleasure to meet you in person. I was down in Missouri passing through. I was planning on doing some research, and I've been on your the research group for a while, and I saw that you guys were having a get together, and I came in, and you guys welcomed me with open arms, and I actually got to go out to one of your members' properties and do an investigation as well while I was down there. So very cool, very open group, very wonderful people. So it's so good to talk to you and to see you again.
Thank you so much. It was just wonderful. It was our annual Christmas party, which we just had again this past Saturday, and it's so nice. We do have a great group. I think it's because we're like-minded. We are a no kill, no harm group, and if you're into other things like that, then you can't be a part of us. But we are a welcoming group, and just everyone has become family. We're now up to, as of today, 993 members. And they are we have Australia, we have one in India, they're all over the United States. And so the information that we post on the Facebook page, if there's an event coming up or, something going on, I always share that so that people in that area would be able to go out and participate.
Very cool. I'm just clicking here. I'm going to put the link to your Facebook page right here in the comments for anybody that's interested in coming and checking it out as well. So there it is. It is up there now.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So this is just great. I just am so proud to participate in sharing our group and what we've been doing. And so many people still look at us as, well, boy, they're kind of out there. And I think that has been a big draw because at first people laugh, when they tell them what you're doing. And I tell everybody, I wear a Bigfoot hat and I pass out business cards, and they start laughing. And then all of a sudden they join the group. So, I think it's just wonderful.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I really enjoyed about your group when I was down there, you guys passed out to me I don't know, not a pamphlet, but a book, we'll call it, of all these documentation of how to do field research, documentations of forms to fill out while you're researching, and just so much literature and stuff that was just handed out. And it was an immense. I actually did take the time and read through it all, and I have it either here in my folders here or back there, but I have it here somewhere. And just amazing stuff that you guys are doing down there. So
Well, what my tack was, because I started this kind of later in my life. I've been researching for 30 years, but I grew up in LA, moved back to Missouri. I was originally from here, coming up on 14 years ago. So I was the new kid on the block, and a lot of our members are hunters, they're woodsmen, they know all kinds of things and things that I didn't know. And what I always do is I really immerse myself in the subject matter, and I read everything I can get my hands on. I have a lot of our group tell us we don't like to read, or we don't have time to read. So what I do is I take copious notes, and then I transcribe them and share them so that maybe they have time, like you said, to read a page or two. And I keep adding to it. They are on our Facebook page under the file tab, and they are free, downloadable, and printable for anyone that is interested in information. And I typically hand out the new ones that I've created at our meetings. And I start off really wanting to be part of our group as a training session. And I think that's kind of where I came in, because I didn't have at the time the field experience. And so I would share that information and try to learn. I also include safety protocols, what to have in your day pack, what to look out for, know your environment, and know the animals that are in that environment, because we have so many people I see on TV. Oh, that's a Bigfoot. That's a Bigfoot. This is a dog man. This is whatever. And you have to know the animals. Are they wolves? Are they coyotes? Are they owls? Are they what's out there? What sounds do they make? And how do they interact with you? If you know that information, you can rule out, okay, it's not a wolf, it's not an owl, it's not a bear, okay, then what is it? So, I read a book one time and it said, always have your skepticals on. And that is so true. Don't accept everything just as it is. You have to do your own research for it to be viable. So many of the shows on TV are scripted, and they say, okay, action, roll it, and oh, I'm going to do a howl, I'm going to do this, that, or the other. Well, that isn't always how it goes out in the field. And so you need to know, because what I try to tell them is, don't try and reinvent the wheel. From reading books and materials and going to conferences and hearing seminars, learn from what the field researchers have done in the past, and don't try to reinvent it. You can try those techniques. They may work in your area. They may not work, because everything across the United States and other countries is different habitat. The creatures behave differently. And so just really get to know your environment and to be safe about it. We don't recommend going out by yourself. Not only, could you come into a situation to where they see you as a big threat, you could also fall and break your ankle. You could be bitten by a snake. There other things can happen to you. So always let somebody know where you're going, when you're going. Don't just stalk off in the middle of nowhere. We had a friend recently in our group that his tree stand broke, and he fell 15 feet flat of his back, broke some vertebrae and stuff. Luckily, he was able to make it to the car and make it home, and then to the hospital. But just a simple thing as that, he wasn't even looking for Bigfoot, he was hunting. So safety is one of the protocols that I really try to ingrain in our members. Safety first.
Absolutely. And you mentioned a lot of stuff there, as far as, it's very important, because when I was down there, I'm not familiar with Missouri at all. I haven't gone, Bigfooting down there. So it was a lot of good information, because a lot of those things I'm not familiar with. Like you said, with snakes, we don't have many poisonous snakes up here in Wisconsin. And so when I go in the woods, snakes, are barely even a thought to me, because we have like little garter snakes and stuff like that. But something that, if you're going around to these different areas, it's something that you need to be aware of. So, and the different wildlife, the different species of owls or canines or other creatures that you also need to be aware of. So it's all amazing information. You said that they can get all that information on your Facebook page.
Right, under the file tab. If they click on that, they'll see a list of all things. I have a reading list, which I have to update. I keep reading and I didn't get it on the thing, but there's all kinds of things like that. And, that way they don't have to spend time reading 350 books. And yes, there are 350 books out there. Some people may say 350 Bigfoot books, but there are some great authors. Tom Cantrell is one, Carter Brochet, and just Charlie Raymond there. And I could go on and on and on the whole show, because there are so many different ways to do this research and to gather your information, and you can learn from all of them. Go on expeditions, go to conferences, talk to people, and don't be afraid of it. The stigma of, oh boy, what a bunch of nuts. They're into Bigfoot, or they're into Dogman, or they're into cryptids. The fascination of unknown things is I think just a human trait. And when you find out and get an explanation for some of those things, it's no longer scary, because the Hollywood, makes everything scary. The Bigfoot's dripping with canine dripping saliva, and they're all going to kill you and stuff. And what we don't understand, we fear. And then when you read some of these books like Tom Cantrell, Carter Brochet, where there is an interaction with them, you find out that they're not the monsters that everybody portrays them to be. Now, that being said, they aren't always the good guys. They're like people, in the respect that if you enter their home, which is the woods, unannounced, and you come in aggressively, and you come in with all these cameras and lights and knocking sticks and things like that. We had a person try to come in our house a couple of years back. He tried to push his way in. He was at the wrong house. But anyway, my husband knocked him off the porch. Anyway, so you have to take that understanding with you into the forest or the woods or the desert, wherever you're researching these beings, and with respect. And what impressed me at the very beginning of my research, I'm part Cherokee on my father's side, but the Native Americans automatically took these beings as one of their own, and another race of people, or they called him the big brother of the forest, and they respected them. Now, there were some back in history, before written history actually, that they were said to be cannibalistic, and it was like warring tribes. So all that before written history has been passed down in the Native Americans. But the one most important thing that impressed me was you show them respect. You go with a good heart. When you go in to research a property, whether it's private property, a national forest, someone's backyard, go in with respect. They are said to know your intent. And I truly believe that these beings, whatever they are, I tend to think they're people. And my viewpoint had changed, because I initially thought they were a throwdown from Gigantopithecus Blackie. And I thought that was, probably what it was, and, the fossil record and everything. We really don't know. And there are no experts out there. We all have our opinions based on our research. But what I've found I've attended 3 different conferences, and I've been out on one expedition. I'll have to tell you about that a little later. That's a real thrill. Anyway, but what they do is they try and base their theory. They base their research on their theory, and that's the wrong way to go about it. You need to base your theory on your data. Okay. There are some researchers that say, oh, they're an ape. So anything that comes across as they are super intelligent, that they can pick up on your feelings, to pick up, have you ever been around a person and you think, ugh, that person gives me the creeps, and a lot of times, trust your gut. Well, these beings also do that. So if you're not going in with a good heart, you might be paralleled out. You might be chased out, they'll throw rocks at you. That is their home. But Tom Cantrell, I know you had him on. He's one of my favorite. And he has just such a great theory on these. And he's not afraid. And it's just really nice to see someone that's not calling them horrible monsters. But have you ever had a bad day and you're in a bad mood and you want people to leave? Yeah. And I always tell my people that, well, my members, I love them. We're like a family. But I always tell them, if you have a bad interaction or you feel, everybody says they get this feeling they're being watched and something isn't right. Well, that's your gut instinct. So it could be that they have small ones around. It could be that there's an injured one. It could be a number of things. And like Tom always says, leave, go back another day. Go back another day. It doesn't have to be that day. And I thought that was such great advice because it's kind of like, a friend wants to come and visit and you've got COVID and, you don't want to deal with them.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of, I think, it's kind of anamorphic to where we do put human characteristics on beings. Some people think they're an animal. I don't know. I think they're more intelligent than that. Also on the Facebook page, I post a lot of things of incredible animal intelligence. And there's a book called Are We Smart Enough to Know How Smart Animals Are? And crows that use tools and, squirrels that can unscrew a cap on a bottle. Just so many different things. And I think that speaks to the fact that these sentient beings are intelligent. And as far as I look at humanity today, I think they're more intelligent than a lot of us, So
Absolutely.
anyway, I need to take a breath, I guess. I'm just
That is fine. Absolutely. So, what actually got you interested in this topic?
Well, it goes back to my high school days. I've had friends tell me that I was always interested in unusual things that nobody could figure out and I can't remember doing that, but I really started out on UFOs, researching that. There was a crash here in 1941 in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, and that existed before Roswell. So I was reading about that. I went to 3 different conferences, and my dear friends, I have some dear friends that I drag with me and they go kicking and screaming, but we still have a good time. So we went over there to Eureka Springs and did that. And so I pretty much felt that I had explored the UFO thing, and Bigfoot had always interested me, but I really didn't know much about it. And so I started reading Bigfoot books. Another thing that is interesting to me is Dogman or the werewolf or whatever. There's 2 or 3 different theories on that. And the last paper that I did was on the LBL, Land Between the Lakes, alleged massacre. And there was a couple of different theories. And I do know, however, that when they say, oh, conservation said it never happened, nobody was ever killed, blah, blah, blah. We have had conservation tell us things that were not true and were not accurate and not really share information with us. Now, I know it's their job, and I know that they'll probably lose their job if they say anything, but we have had conservation at our research areas tell us, I wouldn't spend the night out here. There's no way I'd spend the night out here. And one of our researchers, Stephen, who has had many occurrences, and so he won't spend the night out there. Now, our other guys will. I have yet to spend the night, but I bought a 10-person tent, so I'm planning on it. We're all huddled together, but it just so interests me, the things that can't be explained. And I guess I've always had a hunger of knowing as much as I can about the world we live in.
Very good. Very cool. Very cool. We have a lot of questions here in the comments section. What I'd like to do is I'm going to take our station identification break here. Okay. And then as soon as quick 30 seconds here, you are listening to us on the Untold Radio Network. So we'll be right back.
Show your support for the Untold Radio Network family of shows and join in on the conversation by using super stickers and super chats on YouTube. Got a question you want answered? Ask it live via a super chat and get real-time responses from our show's knowledgeable hosts and guests. Help keep the Untold Radio Network shows running strong. We need your support. Send your super chats and stickers now.
Awesome. And I really appreciate all of our Super Chats members out there because it helps keep the network here running and keeps us on the air. And we have a lot of great shows, all Bigfoot and cryptids and all kinds of other cool, weird stuff. So if you're just tuning in to my show, go check out some of the other ones as well. And I encourage you to like and subscribe to all the Untold Radio Network stations. We are talking today with Susan Perez. She is the founder of the SEMO, Southeast Missouri Bigfoot and Cryptid Research Center organization, whatever you'd like to call it. And we have some interesting comments and questions over here. Let's start up here. We like to know, are you associated with the BFRO at all?
No, I am not. To be associated with the BFRO, you have to go out on, I don't know if it's 3 or 5 expeditions that they put out. And I just have never had the opportunity to do that. I have been on an expedition with Charlie Raymond out of Kentucky, and we can discuss that at some point. But no, I am not associated with them.
Very good. Awesome. If you guys have any other comments or questions, please put them in the comments section. If you'd like get my attention, put them in all caps, and it makes it easier to see the questions versus the comments. Lee would like to know, do you believe in the woo?
That's really interesting. Great question. And yes, I do. Some of it. Now, I watched all the episodes from Survivor Man. He did an episode, 8 episodes, 7 or 8, I believe. Mm-hmm. And what was so interesting about him is he was not a believer. He was more of a skeptic, but he was open-minded. And there's one episode, and I can't remember, I don't know if he was in the Smoky Mountains, but he did have an episode of he thought they said to him, if you want to see us, you need to stay the night. And he was too afraid to stay the night. And so, but he had a lot of experiences even before he did the Bigfoot series, his regular Survivor Man, that he could not explain. And once he saw some of the evidence that he had experienced, then he started thinking, wow, well, that's kind of what I experienced in Canada or whatever. So I do believe there are things, it's like mental telepathy. I have family members whose sons were in World War II, and they had a dream that they were on the beach in Normandy, how they jumped off the boat, those little thingies or whatever, and they were barefooted. Come to find out, they backed it up, and actually that did happen at the time the mother had the dream, but they had their gear on. So how do you explain that? Is it mental telepathy? Is it woo? I don't know, but I think having an open mind would really help you. If you haven't experienced it, we probably don't understand it until it happens to us.
Absolutely. Let's see here. All right. We're going to go the opposite way here. My girlfriend has 25 acres, no neighbors near. Her dog was barking at something in the field. It was pitch black, and it whistled at the dog.
Oh, boy.
Then he would like to know, can Bigfoot whistle like a human?
Absolutely. And if you would read Tom Cantrell's books, they'll do a 2-tone whistle. I can't whistle, but it'll go whistle, whistle. It'll be like a 2-tone, like a human would do. Hunters in the field have also reported that the Bigfoot will call their dog's name, Rusty, Rusty. It won't sound like a human, but they've also called hunters' names. Now that kind of freaked me out, which shows deductive reasoning, and it shows intelligence, and they are great mimickers. We had, in one of our research areas, we had an evening where we had been playing callbacks of something else we had recorded. And all of a sudden, we were surrounded by monkeys. And we're like, okay, now this is really weird. It sounded like a bunch of monkeys. And there's no monkeys that we know of in southeastern Missouri. There are owls. So what I did was I had read that owls make a sound like a monkey. Okay. So I did extensive research. I went to the library. I got 3 books. I typed up all the stuff. My owl notes are in under files. And what you have to discern, and this is the thing. Yes, owls do make that noise. But the thing is, owls are territorial. So you're not going to have 30 owls surrounding you. I mean, it just doesn't happen. They will group together at night and on and on and on. But it was atypical of what real owls would do. And yes, they do whistle. They will try and lure your dogs out. They do not like dogs. Now, that being said, Bill, one of our researchers, he has a dog that he has uh, Bigfoot on his property, he feels, and that dog will go down there, be gone, come back smelling awful, but it doesn't harm the dog. So it just depends. But all the expedition people say, do not take a dog. You know, they're not friends of dogs.
Awesome. My good friends over at Squatch America commenting in here as well. It says, yes, they can whistle, but not with their voice, or with their voices, not their lips, which is very interesting. I know Doug Hychek is working on some of that with Legend Meets Science too, I believe. So the different vocalizations and stuff. So very cool stuff in there.
We had him on our show, Understanding Bigfoot, from Mike Scott. And yes, he's a devout researcher. I have a lot of respect for him. Oops.
Froze there. We're back.
Am I frozen or are you frozen?
I'm not sure. And then Squatch America does go on and says, there are also stories of them calling dogs and killing them. And unfortunately, I have heard those as well.
Absolutely. Yes. I won't go into details, but yes.
And a lot of, we were talking about like the mimicry of the voices and stuff. I've heard the stories of people or of these things calling people's names as well, like out of the woods. So
right. They also, I have read many of the same statement in all these books that I've read, that they will also make sounds like a crying baby. And they will try and lure you out because, everybody's, oh my gosh, there's a baby out here, and you go looking for them and everything. The one thing that I've wanted to do, because of, they're always portrayed as a monster. I've been collecting data on how Bigfoot, Sasquatch have helped people. And there are numerous cases of them pulling a tree off of a guy, that a tree fell on a logger, or taking a child back to the camp and placing a little sapling across it so it had wandered away from camp. There's been incidents of children that had said, there was a big hairy bear that carried me, or the bear just slept with me, or, took care of me. There was a little boy in Kentucky several years back that this happened to. And it was so amazing because I don't think a bear would, I don't know. I would think it would eat it, but it could be. I mean, maybe a bear was just, being good. I don't know. But there are so many things that they have been helpful and not always hurtful.
Definitely. I think this is the perfect question to lead us into some of your other stuff here as well. So what does your organization keep a database of sightings?
Yes, we do. It is not posted on the page yet, and I've been working on that. And one of the things I tell everybody, and I'd like to tell your viewers, document everything you see. And a lot of my great researchers go, it's right up here. I said, yes, but if you get hit by a bus, it's lost, So write it down. There is a form on our Facebook page that is, like how to interview a witness and the questions to ask, and so that you can start a database of your own, or you can submit it to us, whatever. And at some point, we do hope to get it on there, because everything is valuable. And I think a lot of people hesitate to document it or to talk about it because of the stigma, but that's really going away. It has changed over the last 10 years. And it never used to be that the UFO people and the Bigfoot people, they didn't want to have anything to do with us, each other. And there's a gentleman by the name of Kawani Lapidus, who was into UFOs, and he's also into Bigfoot. And it's a little bit different take on things, but it's just write it down and document it so that you can have it. The time of year, what were you doing? What was it doing? And that will show you whether or not they are passing through your property or passing through an area. One thing that we've had people comment is if you do habituation, which is leaving out food or gifts for them. Now, there's a couple of theories. A lot of people say don't feed them, because when you stop feeding them, then they become violent. They'll bang on your house. But leaving them gifts and things like that, whatever they leave, say, for instance, apples. We did this one time. We put out 10 apples. They only took 5. They always leave half. That, again, is deductive reasoning and, to me, intelligence. And it's kind of like the Native Americans. The Native Americans never used up the whole, whatever the food source was. They always left some or some to grow. So that kind of goes along with it.
I have heard that as well. A really quick comment here. Squatch America says we use crying baby sounds instead of tree knocks and call blasting. That's very interesting. I don't think I've ever heard anybody else using that before.
No, I haven't either. I haven't either. Have they been successful? I mean, has anything come forward from that? Would be an interesting question. Yeah, we have given up on the lights and the cameras and, the call blasting and the tree knocks, and everyone has a tree knocker. A friend of mine made them for everybody. And yeah, it's interesting, but you don't know what you're saying. Mm-hmm. Are you ringing the dinner bell? Are you saying, hey, I'm over here, come for a visit? I mean, you don't know what that means. And, just like humanity has Morse code, I feel it's a way of communication for them. But we really don't know what we're saying. We are more interested in a relationship with interaction, sitting around a campfire and talking. And I have to tell you this one of our researchers, Mike, we always say he has a girlfriend out at one of our research areas, because he will make a call or a hello, I'm here, and he'll get a response. Anyone else around the campfire says anything, nothing. And so, oh, you've got a girlfriend, you've got a girlfriend out here and stuff like that. And we've had a couple of other really interesting incidents out there if we have time, but.
Absolutely. Yeah, I definitely want to get into some of your reports and stuff from down there. I have a specific question from one of my past guests, and we'll say they own a lot of property in southern west Missouri. So the other corner of the state from you.
Over by the ocean.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And they have a lot of property out there, and they have an organization down there that works on this property. And he said that none of his workers have had any interactions with these creatures, and he believes that there are no Bigfoot in that part of the state. So I'm wondering, because you have a lot more experience down there, what have you gotten out of that corner of the state? Have you gotten any reports? Do you have any researchers over there?
If you check one good thing about the BFRO is the database. They do have a database. And if you pull up their database, it will show it goes by county. Sometimes it's not always updated as I would hope it would be. But I know, I think the gentleman's name is Ron Bowles. He's over in that area, Boles. And that would be over in the Ozark area, western Missouri. But if you look online and you just say, for instance, excuse me, if you type in Bigfoot sightings and put in the area, a lot of times things will pop up. But the BFRO will tell you of past occurrences and things like that. So the only data we have from that is what we would find online.
Okay. Very good. Well, just thought I would ask. So what have you got What have you got in your area? What stories and what experiences can you share with us?
Okay. One of the experiences that got me to do the presentation at the museum was the fact that let me look at the date here. I've got so many dates going through my head. In just a second here. 1969, and this is the only reason that I could speak at a historical museum, because it was a historical fact. And this came from the BFRO. Someone had logged it in, which is a great help. But in 1969, in Scott City, close to the diversion channel, there was a gentleman there that used to be the caretaker for what they call the bar pits. And it was where they had a lot of boats, and you could, I guess, borrow the boats or rent the boats. But he would have to go down every morning and every evening and open the gate so it could be accessed by people who wanted to go fishing. In 1969, he had his 10 to 12-year-old grandson with him, and they go through the gate, and all of a sudden on the other side of the lake, this being stands up. Now, the boy's grandfather was over 6 feet, and he said this was way taller than his grandfather, shaggy, long arms, big head and stuff like that. And he said, basically, Grandpa, what is that? He goes, oh, don't worry about him, son. He won't bother you. And that was the occurrence. Now, when we were doing our research in Scott City, one of our members thought they knew who that boy was, but whether or not he still lived in the area, we couldn't determine, because I would have loved to interview him. Also in 1994, a little town just outside of Scott City is called Kelso. It's just a hop, skip, and a jump, maybe a mile. And there was this young teenage couple, I guess. They were parking, necking, I don't know, and stuff like that. And all of a sudden they were on this long dirt road, and just narrow bushes on both sides. And all of a sudden they get ready to leave. They turn the car lights on, and there's this being standing there. Same scenario, extremely tall, very hairy, arms longer than the legs, and they were absolutely terrified. Now, they described this occurrence as the being having yellow eyes. Most of the Bigfoot things that we hear, they have red eyes. But I also did a thing on colors in animals. And when you have the tapetum lucidium, I don't know if I'm saying that right, it increases your night vision, and different animals have different colors. So that has been a proven thing. And but they said they had, so could have been a dog man. I don't know. I don't know. Another thing, there's a place in Scott City. You can't go there now, but it used to be the place where young lovers went, and it was called Perkins Springs. And kids would go down there. It was their famous place that they would go and hang out and stuff. So one of our members, he shared this story Saturday. He and his buddies, his buddy had a Corvair, their little flat car, with the motor in the back and stuff. And so they're driving through. You could go underneath the train trestle at that time. You can't any longer do that because Scott City was a railroad town. But anyway, they went through, and all of a sudden, the car wasn't moving. Something picked up the back of that Corvair. And when they looked back, he said, the only thing I saw through the back window was these massive red eyes. And he said, when it put the car down, the car just spun all over the place, and they got out of there. And it's, I thought that was a fascinating story. In Scott City, they used to call him the Yahoo Man, is what they called him years ago. But nobody had ever really looked into any of that. As far as our researchers, and like I said, they have a great story to tell. Do you want me to go into that?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. Let's see. We go basically, our research area, we don't say where. And I also have instructions on how to keep your research area private. The reason being, it's not that you're being selfish or you don't want anybody to learn anything that you know. It's the fact that these beings are living there, and people go in with guns and, oh, I'm going to be the first one to kill one. I'm going to get the best picture. That is absolutely the opposite of what we're wanting to do. But to keep it private, because you don't know what somebody's going to go in there and do, or maybe they'll get hurt because they don't know what they're doing. Anyway, we had one guy came from down. We actually, let me back up. We have researched all the way up northern Missouri, from Farmington all the way down to Poplar Bluff, which is not the entire state, but it's quite a distance. And our researchers will go out if someone has something they want us to come out and investigate. We will document it and research it, and it can be kept private. If you want to make a report, you do not have to give your name. That's not important to us. Just the fact that it is documented, and we believe what people tell us. Anyway, we had Bill, and he went out to one of our research areas, and he was out there by himself. He was in a tent, and he had a little truck, and the truck was only 5 feet from his tent. And we were supposed to come out the next day. Okay, a group of us. Some go out in the daytime, some go out. A lot of the guys want to spend the night. Okay, so he was out there, and in the middle of the night, all of a sudden he hears a whoo, these sounds, and it scared the patooties out of him. Now, Bill is a big guy, wears a cowboy hat. We love him dearly. He's not afraid, hunter, all that stuff. He's not afraid. Now, his truck was only 5 feet from his tent, and he could hear things around the tent and stuff like that. So he unzipped the top of his tent, and with his 45, he fired 5 shots out the top of his tent. And we're like, oh, please don't do that. Please don't do that. They'll put you in. I mean, that's the worst thing you could do. You will not outrun them. You will not be able to injure them, because if there's one, there's two, and you won't make it out, because you hurt one of them, your history. But anyway, he did that, and he said once he shot, he realized it was the wrong thing to do, because the woods came alive. He felt he was surrounded by things going off, sounding like monkeys and all this things going off. So he waited till daylight. Now, we were coming up the next day, and here's this note: I was run out by Bigfoot, and I took that down. I'm like, no. So he came back. He lives up north, but he came back, and he told our story. And it was amazing. I mean, this guy is so credible. That was one of the incidents. And he later brought his wife, and they camped out, the two of them, and they had an experience with the sounds. And she said, if this doesn't stop, I'm going to start screaming, So anyway, but they've had that. And then some of our other researchers, there was our friend Matt, who's in the group. He and his wife have been good friends of mine and my husband's. And they were always so good to come to all of my meetings, because they thought no one else was going to show up. And so they were both kind of skeptics, but especially Matt and stuff like that. Well, guess what? He was going fishing over in Illinois, and one walked right across the highway in front of him. Well, that changed his thinking, and it's like, I know they're real. I believe they're real. I hope before I kick the bucket, I want to see one or have an interaction with one. And here's a skeptic, that it walks right in front of him. He even saw the light color on the bottom of the foot, and it was just taking its time, and then it went down into a ravine. Other people have seen it in the same area. I don't remember the location, but it is in southern Illinois, and they've seen one in the same area over there. Let's see, what else do I have? Stephen, one of our researchers, he came to us at one of our meetings, and he has cast a lot of prints, and he's a great tracker. He can see things in the dirt that we can't see. And once he says, well, look at that and that, I'm like, oh, now I see it. But, we would have walked right by it. We have cast prints, 17 inches up to 21 inches. And he said he has one that's 24 inches, which would be, if you do the rationale, there's a way that you can do the leg measurement times 100. all that stuff. Tom Cantrell has a great formula. And also Dr. Fehrenbach said, if the foot is this size, then they're this tall. And there's all that great information online too. But he has experienced visual sightings. He's seen a female with a child. And he's one that's, I won't stay out there at night. And he's had a lot of experiences, and they have their own special stories, which they could elaborate on. But we have a lot of things that we experience, and we know that it's probably not this and probably not that. But as far as a visual, I have not seen one. And I know some of the top researchers, I can't remember his name, doggone it. Anyway, he had his whole life. I think one of them was John Green, and the other one was a Swiss guy. They never saw a Bigfoot their entire life, and they researched for years and years. So it's kind of a gift. And when people say they've seen one, now a lot of people, they're scared to death, and other people feel it's like a moment in their life they'll never forget. So I think that's really neat.
So again, we're not going to talk about where you go and stuff like that, because obviously we've discussed that. But what can you tell us about specific, like, have you learned anything down there? Do you know of any certain migrational routes for food, or do you notice that they're more active certain times of the year, or anything like that? Have you been able to pin down any kind of information down in your area?
It seems to be from what our researchers have shared, that in the fall they seem to be around more. There's an entrance that goes to a river at the end of our research area, and they've seen footprints down there, and they've talked to fishermen down there that said, oh yeah, they're here, we see them all the time, and that's secondhand information. But we always make it a rule, we trust what you say is the truth until we prove you different. So it's been that, but it depends on the weather and where they are. Some people see them in the spring and they feel that they have their babies in the spring. We don't have documentation on that. This is just coming from other researchers and what they've experienced. And we do not think that they hibernate, but it seems like the fall is the best time. It's the best time for us when the snakes go to bed, and the chiggers and the ticks. And I'm more afraid of ticks. But it just, we don't really have that data on specific, because we're not out there on a regular weekly basis. And so that's the thing. If you do have them on your property, you have the opportunity to document, okay, I saw them on Thursday in October. I saw them on Friday in October. I didn't see them December and January. So did they move on? Do they follow the food? Any forest, and a lot of people say, well, they're not in rural areas. Yes, they are. They are at the edge of society as we know it. And in Missouri, there's a lot of small towns and, a lot of rural areas outside of the city. And they experience things, they don't know what's doing it. Like they will move their farm tools and they'll find them out in the forest. Well, I don't think, maybe a bear would carry something off like that. We have had an influx in mountain lions up in northern Missouri. So I also have on my Facebook page how you deal with a mountain lion versus a black bear, a grizzly bear. We don't have grizzly bears, but you don't play dead with a black bear. They eat dead things, where a grizzly bear doesn't eat it, things like that. Mm-hmm. So you just need to know what's out there and how they're interacting on your property, on what it is. But we really do not have that data because we're not out there every week.
Absolutely. Well, that's a fair point. I mean, with so many members all over the country, I mean, you said you have people all the way in Australia and stuff on your page as well. So it seems like you're pretty open to just share information and research, because, right, what you've learned there can obviously be implemented all over the world. When you're looking at this, it's all good survival instinct and, information for just being out in the woods. So.
Right. Right. Safety first. I retired from the American Red Cross. I was a disaster specialist, and I trained people on how to survive a catastrophic event. In California, of course, it was earthquakes, but we also deployed people to Katrina and other hurricanes. And so you have to protect your people first, in my opinion, so they're safe. Because if you're not safe, you can't do accurate research. You go out there and get hurt, you're probably not going to go back. And so I think that's the most important thing, is being safe and, just taking care of yourself so that you can share what you've learned with other people.
Absolutely. Very well said. So we are at almost the end of our hour here. I appreciate you coming on so much. If anybody has any last minute questions, please get them in the comments here, and we'll get them in right before we go off the air here. Susan, I did put your link in the comments section, and it is in the show notes for anybody that is listening. But can you tell people again where they can find you, and where your page is, and how they can get a hold of you if they have any sightings or so on?
Okay, that's great. Our page is on Facebook, SEMO, all caps, SEMO, which stands for Southeast Missouri, Bigfoot and Cryptid Research. And you can send me a message on that. It's free to join. There are some questions. You need to decide that we are a no kill, no harm. And there's 3 very, very simple questions on there that if you want to become a member, you're more than welcome. We don't, you read the rules. And then I will be happy to add you. And then you can make use of all the documents under files. You can ask questions. And the thing with me is, if I don't know the answer, I will check with my researchers, or I will try and get you an answer from researchers outside of Southeast Missouri and what they've experienced. But do read and follow some of these other researchers, because you don't have to invent the wheel, but something that they have discovered may work in your area.
Absolutely. I do want to point out, Bill, you were talking about him here earlier. Bill is going to be on. I got the chance, as I said, to go out to his property and do some research with him. And his story will be on season 2 of On the Trail of Undiscovered Beasts on Paraflix.
He is great. He is absolutely great. We love each other, all of us. And we have the people that have come to us are respectful of each other, because I don't allow them to slam someone else's opinion, or, I'll give them a warning. And then if I've only had to boot a couple of people out of 993 people so far, but they're just great. And we get together, we have parties, we go out in the woods, we have a picnic, we have meetings, and they just really have been very close friends.
Absolutely. They are both wonderful people. I can't say enough well about them. They have a little guest shack on their property with a full bathroom and kitchen and everything. And I got the privilege to spend the night out there, and had all of my equipment and stuff running. And it was an awesome time. Bill and Debbie, correct?
Yes, Debbie.
Yes. Yep. Are just freaking phenomenal people. And I know they were going through some hard stuff. I hope everything is good with them. I know on the CAPS Facebook page, if you look back, I shared a GoFundMe for that as well. And so if that's still going on, I encourage everyone, go back. It's a couple months now, but that was on our Facebook page as well. So if you guys can help them out, I would appreciate that.
That's great. They're very special people. They really are. And so much fun. I mean, they're just so much fun. And it's so funny because people ask us, well, do you take weapons out there? And yeah, we do. We're packing, but we're not packing for Bigfoot, because no, we wouldn't kill one. Well, we couldn't. I'm sorry, but you cannot. You won't make it out. It's just like the copperheads in Missouri, C1, C2. Okay, there's another one right there. And Bigfoot is really never out there alone, but we're more to, if there's a mountain lion or our own protection. So you see the guys out here, they're all strapped up, and nothing happens. But it's really more to protect, against snakes or something like that, because there are a lot of snakes in Missouri. If there's water, there's snakes.
Yeah, that was one of the things on his property. He encouraged me to carry a sidearm just in case, and so I had that the whole time because, yeah, like you said, you never know. I mean, we're not out there to hurt any of these creatures, and I think if we shot at one, it would end very badly for us,
Oh,
not
it
the
would.
creatures. But there are other things out there in the woods that you don't want to mess with as
Right,
well, and I think
right.
it's
And
definitely
although
good to be safety story.
conservation says they're not out there, people have seen black panthers. They're melanistic, they have the spots and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But my grandmother grew up in the Ozarks, and she talked her whole life about black panthers. And there are other things out there, and their intention is not to come and eat us. But if we get in their way and there's a baby there, we're in trouble.
Absolutely.
So anyway, but we just have a great group. We have great food. If you're ever back this way, we'll go out. We have fish fries. That's probably what brings them in is the food.
We had tacos the day that I was down there.
Oh, did you?
It was at
Yes.
the Mexican restaurant, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We have some good places around here. So anytime you're coming back through, you're welcome.
I would absolutely appreciate that. I will keep it in mind. I'll be back down there eventually, so
Good. Yeah, after you thaw out.
yeah, yeah, after awesome. Thank you so much. It has been a pleasure catching up with you, and I look forward to talking to you again and seeing you again in person. So
It was my honor. Thank you so much.
absolutely. You take care and tell Bill and Debbie I say hi.
I sure will. I sure will. Take care.
Take care. All right, guys, that is our show for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. Susan and the SEMO group is absolutely amazing. Like I said, I got the chance to go down there. It was last year. I was down there for some other research and that, and they opened wide open arms to me, and it was a great time. Got some great research in down there, and as I said, you'll get to see some of that coming up here on the Trail of Undiscovered Beasts on Paraflix Season 2 will be coming out. And next week, guys, Monday is Christmas. Here in the United States and wherever you celebrate it, it's the holidays. And unfortunately, I know a lot of you guys are going to be busy. A lot of my guests are busy on Christmas as well. But we have a show. It is going to be a pre-recorded show. It is in the books. It is amazing. And I have the wonderful and informative Chad Lewis is going to be coming on, and we're going to take a little break from Bigfoot for a little one show here, and we are going to be talking about some legends and lore of Christmas and other holidays, different myths, legends, and stuff of that nature, a little Krampus, a little Belsnickel, and all of that fun stuff. So guys, it will be a live show, but it'll be pre-recorded for all of us. So I hope that you guys have a happy holiday, whatever you celebrate. And I will see you again in January 1st. We'll be live with a Q&A with, again, the cast of Alaskan Killer Bigfoot. We have some different guys coming on this time that couldn't make it to the first one. They were very unfortunate that they missed it for different reasons for each of them, but we have a lot of them coming back, and it's going to be another great show. Guys, I hope that you enjoy it. I hope that you enjoy next week's episode. Happy holidays to you all. Until then, guys, I'll see you on the edge.